Visit TanzaniaForLess.com. You can celebrate Christmas in the Serengeti and New Year's Eve in Zanzibar with our holiday special. This 9-day adventure through Tanzania's stunning landscapes covers the Serengeti, Crater Tour, and Zanzibar's beaches. Enjoy an unforgettable New Year's Eve party and explore Dar es Salaam, East Africa's largest city. Worried about your budget? Our preferred travel agency, iButterfly Travel, can help finance your dream trip. Contact them at 844-423-5983. Start 2024 on a high note with a unique Tanzanian experience. Call iButterfly Travel today at 844-423-5983 or email visit TanzaniaForLess@gmail.com. Reserve your dream vacation with a 30% deposit. Spend Christmas in the Serengeti and New Year's Eve in Zanzibar. If not now, then when?
Good afternoon, Muskegon. If not now, when are you going to take that trip that you deserve? You are listening, watching, and tuning in to Torn Into for this week. It's the 29th Band Alumni Homecoming for Muskegon. I can't wait to see you guys tonight. Let's get some things, do some housekeeping. If you would like to be part of the show and ask questions, pick up your phone, do what I'm doing right now. Go to Facebook, go to WUVS 103.7 The Beat, and you can be a part of the show. Also, what you can do is you can share this to your page, which I'm doing right now. It's important because we're talking about elections that people get a chance to hear the show. So also these shows repeat themselves. This is the 29th of September. They repeat themselves. If you missed a song and you're driving and you would like to review it back, the shows repeat themselves on WVS 103.7 The Beat, or M106 Rockin' Soul. That's WVS 103.7 The Beat, or M106. The show today, Torn Into, there's a couple things. Let's get out the weather, the 10-day forecast, high of 72, low of 56. It's going to kind of maintain that way all the way through Wednesday, Thursday, when we have a 30% chance of rain, high of 69 that day, low of 58. And Friday, football weather, high of 66, low of 52. Okay, so that's the weather. What we're doing right now is we're covering election time, and we're covering the city of Muskegon Heights. And the city of Muskegon Heights, like every other city, has a lot to do. Before I go there, I have to say our condolences to Senator Feinstein from California, who passed away at the age of 90. Trailblazer, longest serving Senate woman. She passed away. And I was one that was, calling for her to retire for this reason, to get a chance to enjoy grandkids and great grandkids. But you know what? I get it. I get it. I get it. She was going to retire this year. She was a servant all the way to the end of her life. And thank God for now she gets some rest for all the work that she did. So once again, Nancy Feinstein dead at the age of 90, longest serving senator as a woman in Congress. With that said, we have new blood and we have a lot of people running in the Heights for these positions. Pastor Burns, this is what we're doing with him, the co-host. He is the intern of City Heights. We do not want to show like we're being partial. And so he has stepped down to not interview in any of these when we get a chance to talk to these candidates, okay? So understand that. So I'm going to miss my brother for a couple weeks, but it's important that we show that we're not favoring anyone. With that said, let's go to our first person. His name is Vernell Smith, age 52 years old. I'm going to let him tell a little bit about himself. Put your hands together for my man, Mr. Vernell Smith. How you doing, sir? We'll get you in here.
Pretty good. Pretty good today. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about, and we want to make sure that you get your equal time to speak. Okay, Mr. Smith,
Appreciate it.
tell people something about yourself.
It's previously stated I'm 52 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Mesquite Heights. I was a past councilman for 8 years.
Hmm.
I did 6 years as a councilman, and my last 2 years as mayor pro tem. I served from 2011 to 2019, and decided to step down and take a break for a minute to kind of get my health and all that wasn't where I wanted to be, so I kind of stepped down to get myself together. And and in that time, I was able to get myself together, and I just felt that it was time for me to return back to and help our community back again.
And by the way, you're looking well, health
Thank
wise.
you, thank you.
You're
Well,
looking.
it was I lost over 150 pounds over the last 2 years.
Oh, bless you, sir. I know how you are. I know that feeling. I'm at 45 right now, so I got a ways to go. So listen, you decided to come back and run. Why?
Well, you know, I've been sitting back and I've been watching our community, and I just even though we are going, as they say, we're going to a new direction in the city. It's a new heights. I feel that we can go a little higher than what we are,
Hmm.
and we need a little bit more diversity and economics in the city of Mesquite Heights. We're not building the relationships that I feel that we should be able to be building with the outside community, to
Hmm.
where we can get more economical development in the city of Mesquite Heights. Some of the things as far as we need to bring in outside entities where we can bring back maybe it might not be a plum, but a supermarket where we can get fresh fruit and you know more. I'm a gardener myself. I garden flowers and all that, and you know bringing in more fresh produce, for the community and all that. There's a lot of, dealing with the issues that I dealt with myself. In the black community in Mesquite Heights, we deal
Hmm.
with a lot of diabetes, the high blood pressure, and those are the type of things that we need to bring it back here into the community. Along, as I stated, with economic development. We'll never have back to big boundaries, but to encourage having some of the industrials to come in to invest in the city of Mesquite Heights. I mean, where taxes have always been an issue in the city of Mesquite Heights, and as
Right.
I've always stated, we can't pay taxes to ourselves if we don't invest in ourselves.
Hmm. Hmm. So listen, we try to ask everybody the same questions. Okay. Um,
Okay.
one of the questions that came up is that how do we change the stigma of what people think, how they think, and what they think about Muskegon Heights?
Well, I can say that with one word: image. If if our image is not perceived as welcoming, or we have a stigma mentality of we're not willing to work with people that want to come and invest into the city of Michigan Heights, how are we going to evolve as a city? I mean, that was an issue. I feel that when I was on council the first time, that we we weren't encouraging enough outside development to come into the city of Muskegon Heights.
Hmm.
No, I'm at a point right now where somebody that wants to come in and invest in the city of Muskegon Heights, if they're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, the financial backing is in place. I'm encouraging them to come in and invest in the city of Muskegon Heights. We have the downtown city of Muskegon Heights, where at one time the Strand Theater was flowing. We had Vimo Jeans, Bob Clothes, the Five and Dime. We had the Little Joni's restaurant and all that, And
Hmm.
it's the city of Grand Haven and Whitehall and other and even city of Muskegon. If they can have all of those type of entities in their downtown area, we should be able to revive that right back into the heights. I want a stigma of where versus you driving through the heights to go to Roosevelt Park, Norton Shore, the city of skiing. We have an attraction where you can stop in here and be able to shop and invest in the city of Muskegon Heights. And I believe it's not too late for that to happen.
One of the things, another question that we ask people is that I was talking to a council person from the city of Muskegon, and they said basically the dog that barks the loudest gets the food. In other words, the person that is lobbying on the state and the federal level are getting the tax dollars, which the city of Muskegon is able to lobby for. How do we change and get Muskegon Heights to start getting that revenue?
Well, first we're gonna have to work on our inside. We have to work on ourselves. And what I mean by that is when you whether you're in attendance in person, whether you're in attendance on Zoom, if we're not unified as a council, why would somebody want to come invest in us?
Hmm.
And we can get out there and bark as loud as we can, but if we're not showed in a unified front that we're working together versus working individual, nobody will be willing to want to work with us. So
Right.
You know, I you know I can say I didn't do things single handedly by myself in the 8 years that I was there. I had the support of other council, but there were things that when I was on council that that we did get into place, and that are still unified in the city of Muskegon Heights. We just have to continue that unification to
Hmm.
where when we go out and, as you say, the biggest dog, the biggest bark gets the bone. We have to show that hey, we're united right here now. So hey, they're trying. Let's go ahead and give them a try. Let's invest in the city of Muskegon Heights versus just going past the city of Muskegon Heights.
Another question that came out that we have posed to everybody is, what do you feel, and do you feel that the current council is transparent?
Uh, that's that. That that one right there. I can't really give a solid answer on that one because it's just that I would say, and not pointing any fingers, the transparency, that's just it's going to have to be more of a unified front. I mean, because
Hmm.
there's a lot of division between the council, in my opinion, from what I'm viewing.
Hmm.
And until they can get more unified and say voting on one page, it's kind of be in the situation that we're in right now.
Let me bring up this question. Some councils, they hash it out on work session days, and they vote on issues on work session days. And wherever it goes, 5-4 split on the issue or 4-3 or whatever. But the day of, after it's been hashed out, the day of when they face people, they may object or say what they have to say, but they vote as a unified front because they already worked it out at a work session. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say this much: everybody has their right, to their opinion, and as long as they get they get the council packages and enough time to review them. Depending on what department head that they're dealing with or what individual, they're given enough time to say get the ample information so that they're not just say forced to vote into something that just to move it along.
Mhm.
I've always said to myself, when I was on council, that I was if it didn't benefit the city citizens, I wasn't going to vote on it. I didn't want to just vote on something that I felt was just going to be beneficial to me. I wanted to make sure that it would benefit the citizens of Muskegon Heights.
Mhm. Mhm. Now, coming back, you served, like you said, you served several years, and coming back with new eyes and health, elected. What are some of the things that you would like to start working on day one?
Um, One of the things is getting back. I'll never promise anybody that hey, I'm going to get all the streets fixed, but I'd like to reorganize and revamp the hardest hit streets again because they're I'll just use for an example. We need to really hit some of the heart of our city. The Merriam Drive that leads out to the expressway.
Mhm.
Um, there's a street in Mason that corners between Summit Avenue and Broadway.
Mhm.
Those are some of the hearts of the city that people travel, and I think it would cut down a lot of damage claims that we have throughout the city. One of the other things that I want to hit the ground running again is on economical development.
Mhm.
We have a lot of new homes that are being built in the city of Muskegon, Whitehall, Fruitport area. I mean, as we all know, we just had the home being built after 17 years in the city of Muskegon Heights, and we have a lot of vacant property sitting
Yes.
here in the Muskegon city, sitting in the city of Muskegon Heights, and
Mhm.
some of those same ideals and some of those same constructions can be performed in the city of Muskegon Heights. That would alleviate some of the tax base along with industrial and development because
Mhm.
that the section of law right over there by it's the old McDonald's, but it's Kareem's restaurant now. All of that area back there is commercial development for industrial, and just as well as they're building in the surrounding areas. I think that that's prime property where we can come in here inside here and encourage economical and industrial development to where they can come in and invest in the city of Mesquite Heights. Well, with that industrial development, that would alleviate some of the personal homeowner tax.
Mhm.
That's being, that a lot of people are saying, my taxes are being raised and all that. Well, without any development in the city of Mesquite Heights, where else can we go as far as with taxes, other than going back at the homeowner?
Mhm. Talk about a little bit. You talked about when the booming of Strand and some of the other businesses were there. Right now, downtown Heights, like it's the difference between Muskegon and Muskegon Heights. We have a lot of empty buildings. How do we get people to partner up with the city of Muskegon Heights to fill those buildings so Muskegon Heights will be a thriving city again?
Well, just like with the Strand Theater that I mentioned earlier, that that has reached its 100 mark to where we should be able to get grants and funds to be able to rejuvenate the majority of the Strand, and then some of the businesses that are along Broadway and Peck Street, we should be able to obtain grants to be able to get inside there and reconstruct some of those buildings. There's most of them are still structurally sound, but that it's a lot of it's just really just cosmetic. I mean, that's just as far as like the Moon Lake Pavilion.
Mhm.
That building basically is such is structural. It is sound strong. but it just needs cosmetics to bring it up. I believe with the development of that, we can rejuvenate Bone Lake to bring the same interest that Lake Michigan has.
I want to talk to you about that as well. These are some of the questions that we proposed to the other candidates. How proud of you that some of the celebrations like Juneteenth, the thing that you just did with the camp out, the things that are happening at Mona Lake, how proud of you to see those things happening in Muskegon Heights and they're happening without any glitch?
I'm very proud of that. Kudos to to Jennifer Ross, for putting the Juneteenth together. And also, with the other with all the other donations and foundations and all that has partnered with the city of Muskegon Heights and with it going without it. 'Cause that just shows that we can come together as a community and it doesn't have to be a shooting or a fight. We can come together, be united, enjoy ourselves, and go home.
Mhm. How do you get, how do you guys get people to reinvest in? You guys have a precious gem with the water that you guys have. How do you get people to reinvest and start getting that water from Muskegon Heights?
Well, as has always been stated, the city of Muskegon Heights has a state of the art facility, one of the top ones in the city of Michigan. And at this point right now, with more home ownership, industrial development, and then once if the casino ever evolves, those are things that that we can be able to reconnect with our community, with the community to have the water department flourish to the point that it did in its glory days.
Mhm. It's very important, this next question, that um, in every city you want safety, you want fire protection. Um, in every city, every township, every municipality has a few areas, a few bad apples. How is important that you guys are safe, the neighbors feel safe, and that, like in fire protection, that they feel that they have the best equipment and training so they can protect people when they see them on their worst day.
Well, that was one of the things that I did focus on in my in the last for the 8 years that I did run. I was basically pro fire, police.
Mhm,
With without the fire department, the city would burn down. Without the police, we wouldn't be able to be protected.
mhm,
And those are some of the things that I encourage and that I push for more firefighters, more police officers, more public work workers. I mean, as they say, we're the city of friendly people. I want to also be known as the city of beautiful people.
mhm,
Everything starts with perception. If we're not shown that we're a friendly city, a welcoming city, a beautiful city, why would I want to come in? Why would I want to come into this?
mhm, mhm. When you knock at doors right now, when you're out in the street, I saw you the other day at the store. What are some of the things that you're hearing that people are? What are some of the things that you're hearing?
Well, one of the things that the number one thing is the water rates, the taxes, and in the time that I served, like I explained to people, without having a lot of the big industrials here that they had back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, early part of the 90s, that tax base has no choice but to fall back on the homeowners.
Mhm,
As far as like with the water, with us losing Fruitport in the city of Northern Shores, it just basically the water rates are just relied on the city of Muskegon Heights, and in order to obtain a safe system,
mhm,
So from time to time, the water rates have to be raised. I mean, even when I was on council, and whether I'm on council or not, the next time, which I'm really encouraged, thinking that I'm thinking good, that I'll be able to get back on. My water rates won't change. I pay the same water bill that Joe Bowl pays.
Here's the last question. I'm sitting at home. I'm listening to this interview. Straight up, why should I vote for Vernell Smith?
Ex- One, past experience, new ideas, ready to hit the ground running. I've been retired since 2019. I did over 25 years in the cable industrial, and I was able to retire in 2019. And I feel right now that, even though I gave an ample amount of time when I was employed, I feel that I had more of time to give myself and being, making myself available to the citizens. I've always tried to make sure that that old motto, the same ladder that you climb up, is going to be the same ladder that you climb down.
Mhm.
So I tried to make sure that I put the citizens' concern first before my own. As I stated earlier, if it doesn't benefit the city of Muskegon Heights and the citizens, then I'm not going to vote for it because it's not going to be a personal agenda for me. It's always going to be for the citizens because what with economical development, with what bills that come into the heights, new bills, those all don't just affect the city, the council. It also affects the citizens. So, if if reelected, I'm gonna come back as hard as I have, and if not harder, working for the city of Muskegon Heights to bring it, that motto, we're in a new heights. So
Mhm.
I want to take us higher.
Okay, so if I want to contact you, write you that big fat check, or I have a question for you, how can you be reached?
I can be reached at my cash app of $ Vernonell Smith, or my phone number is 231-578-7676.
And
Or
that's your
just if
home.
you,
That's your
that's my,
mobile number.
yes, sir. So, they can reach me they can call me, they can text me, just like we ran into each other the other day. If they want to stop me in the street and give a donation towards my campaign, You know, I'm I'm not one of those ones that'll just walk up, hey, thank you, and then walk off. If you want to have a conversation and we both got time, I want to hear your concerns.
Mhm.
If you feel confident enough to vote me in, then I should be kind enough to hear your concerns.
Mr. Vernell Smith, thank you so much for everything that you've had to say, and good luck and Godspeed on your campaign.
Thank you very much.
All right. That was Mr. Vernell Smith, and he is running for a council person in the city of Muskegon Heights. I want to thank him for his time. Matter of fact, I want to thank all these candidates for what they do, because, hey, listen, running for office and serving for office is you're doing a lot of work for something that you're trying to do to help people. Now, listen, it's Friday the 29th, beautiful day outside. We're going to go to commercial break and come back with Miss Chelsea McKinley. You're watching Torn in Two on 103.7 The Beat and M106 Rock and Soul.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 black-owned radio stations and podcasts, is here for you. Connect to the world's fastest-growing collection of unapologetically black and proud media, from podcasts to independent black-owned radio stations, and access to the important news and music you need. Umoja Radio is from our culture, by our culture, for our culture. The all-new Umoja Radio is available right now on Google Play and the Apple Store. Join the movement. Be empowered.
And welcome back to Touring Into this 29th of September. Homecoming for alumni. Want to see you there. I'll see you soon. Our second candidate, we got to get her on right now. Her name is Chelsea McKinley. Put your hands together for Miss McKinley. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a single mother of two. I've been in the Muskegon Heights area for a couple years, and for a couple years, I've been attending the council meetings regularly. So I've gotten a pretty good idea of, what's going on in the council and what's going on in the crowd, what's, some different opinions that float around and whatnot. So the few times that I've been compelled to speak, I have been encouraged to run as well. So with I have a lot of passion for it. So I figured if I have the passion and the encouragement, then I'll go ahead and run and give it a go. And if nothing else, hopefully just encourage the next person to run. I just feel like there's not enough representation in government as a whole, and it kind of starts locally. So.
Okay. So I got to go. There are a lot of questions that I have to ask you. Okay.
Thank you.
You said, so right now you're walking in the streets and you said you've been convinced to run. What are people telling you or asking you or suggesting to you?
They just are ready for new faces is what the general sense is that I get is that they just want to have options and new faces, and new ideas, and just a overall freshness. I think overall right now, I think there's a feeling that there's a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability. So just that's kind of the verdict I've been getting from the general public.
Okay, so that's a verdict of the people. What is your thoughts about the transparency of the current council?
I've had some experience with emailing some of the council and emailing the mayor in the couple years that I've been here, and some are very adamant about replying, and others, you have to be a little bit more adamant about getting a response from. So I think more than anything, just diversifying the council would be a benefit, because as it stands right now, the votes are pretty consistently either this way or that way. So I think getting some people in there that kind of just mix up the votes a little bit and maybe swing it this way some and that way other, that's just kind of what I have witnessed over time, is that usually it's a lot of you can pretty much count on who's going to vote this way or who's going to vote that way. At least I can, having gotten a good feel for everybody and how they tend to vote. So
with the diversity that you're talking about on the council, and sometimes it divided, what is your thought about some councils do this, not everyone, but they work out, they hash it out on work days, and then they come out the next day, regardless how it is. Now they may express their opinions, but they come out and show a unified front. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I have several thoughts about that. And they kind of conflict, because on one hand, I do think that would be beneficial for the council to be able to kind of speak freely, amongst each other, and really promote more of a conversation amongst one another, to really be able to hash out those issues. In the same sense, being, somebody who's been in the public side of things, when they go to private, when they go to the private sectors of the meetings, sometimes it just leaves leaves some question with the public, so do I think that would help for the issue of transparency? Maybe not so much, but do I think it would help the council really be able to actually have those really important conversations? Yeah, I do think that might help that. So it's one of those things where maybe there's a happy medium or a compromise. Maybe they could be Zoom open meetings, or closed meetings rather. I don't know. I don't know what exactly the answer is, but I definitely could see arguments to either side there.
I want to talk to you about one of the questions. You probably heard this, is that in the city of Muskegon, talked to a representative that said that the biggest dog that barks gets the bone, basically. In other words, that the city of Muskegon have been doing a lot of lobbying in the state and Washington. How does that happen in Muskegon Heights?
Yeah, I do think that's true. I think one thing that would really benefit the city is a grant writer, as well as somebody in the finance department. Those are two things that I think would be worth their weight, as you may say. As far as like you say, being the squeaky wheel, right? We have a lot of needs, and you can't get those needs met if you're not actively voicing those and being loud about it, and even maybe obnoxious
Okay,
to a
right.
degree, and so that's something that I I'm actually taking classes right now, and if I have to take a grant writing class myself, I'll do it because it's a need that needs to be met for sure.
One of the questions that we ask all the candidates is that how do you change the stereotype or the thoughts that people have about Muskegon Heights? Because Muskegon Heights is full of great people that
It
go to
is.
work, come home, repeat cycle, spend time with their kids, go to church on Sunday, and repeat. How do we change that? Because every city and township or municipality has some problems with crime or whatever. But how do we change that stigma about Muskegon Heights?
Yeah, of course. Well, for networking, I think is a big way. Having some strong players in the community who are willing to network on behalf of the community. And I think the council are people who should are kind of be obligated to just be out networking on a regular basis, and not only in our own community but in the communities around us. And that's something I have already really been doing is with the campaigning. I meet new people and make new connections every day, and I'm always speaking highly of Muskegon Heights. I tell people all the time I grew up in a very small town in Newaygo County where my family roots are very strong, and when I first moved to Muskegon Heights, my neighbors were seriously more friendly and kind to me than the neighbors I had that probably knew my grandparents. So I am a very, very strong advocate for that. Whenever anybody asks me where I'm from, I always say Muskegon Heights. I don't shorten that to Muskegon. I don't go Muskegon County. No, I am from Muskegon Heights. And I think that ensuring that people can be proud of where they're from also is really how to ensure that everybody has that mentality. We are from Muskegon Heights, and we're here, and and we love it. We love it here.
How do we convince your neighbors that they are safe as far as police and fire? Do you need more police and fire? Because usually you see police and fire on a person's worst day.
Of course, yes. In fact, the fire is an interesting. We could go in a lot of directions there because with the streets the way they are, the fire truck, you could have 100 fire trucks, and if they can't get to you quick enough because they have to blow over potholes. And then, on that note as well, we are constantly, to my knowledge, I've been witnessing a lot of throughout the years, a lot of repairs. We spend a lot of money on repairs for the fire trucks, and then they repair them, and then you blow over some potholes, and then I'm assuming they need some repaired again. So that's one of the things that's kind of a multifaceted answer. The police, I think Muskegon Heights has a pretty good established police department. I think that we could have more of a emphasis on community empowerment, ensuring that there's like mental health help for those who need it, making sure, access to fresh food and green spaces is studied to not only reduce but prevent crime. So, I think, again, that's just a multifaceted answer. I will say 2020, I was out in the streets protesting, George Floyd and everything. And I have had a lot of people I spoke with. Muskegon Heights has a very different police department than like Grand Rapids. I think that we can commend Muskegon Heights Police Department for where they're already at, opposed to a lot of, other departments. But I always think there's room to grow and do better. And I think that Muskegon Heights is in a unique position where we can, not only can we, but we have to almost implement some innovation and some progressive ideas that are going to not only advance us to where we need to be, but also put us in a position where we are able to surpass those, really be a leader in, in sustainability, whether it's, economic, stability, sustainability, environmental sustainability, and social, sustainability. So,
Well, let's go to the board. Terry Johnson said, "Good stuff."
hey, thanks.
So, you talked about a little bit about economics. A couple questions that we're making sure to try to ask everybody the same questions.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You have a lot of empty buildings down there.
Yeah.
I think about when Muskegon Heights used to be thriving downtown. How do we return back to that?
Yes. Again, I think a lot of networking would be beneficial here. There are people out there, and they want to invest, and encouraging them to invest here, it would be, a step in the right direction. I do actually rub elbows with a lot of investors, and they do speak to some of the hurdles to investing in the Heights. Um, so I think it's kind of, sometimes we have to maybe look in and see maybe what we could do to encourage that more. But also, what are we willing to invest in? A lot of these empty buildings could very easily be community centers, fresh markets, so I think another thing is to really ensure that the community is empowered with knowledge. I attend a social Sunday every Sunday where some local business owners and investors and pastors and just really anybody who's invested in the betterment of the community shows up. And one thing that we do often is trade knowledge and trade ideas, and when somebody has an idea, really empower their idea or what have you. And one thing that I have personally learned by attending these is about the land banks and how to, and I'm still learning about it, but how to utilize the land banks and the opportunities that there are for, for people who, kind of have to go, on an alternative route or an unconventional route to home ownership or what have you. So, I think just really like empowering the community in those ways will also really just empower us so much. I hate to be blunt about it, but I know a big concern is gentrification. And let me tell you, I'm a low-income single mother. Like, I'm also concerned. Sorry, I have a bug about gentrification. And we definitely need the city to grow, and we need the community to grow with the city, and we need that to be in tandem. So, that's a concern for me, for sure.
I have to go back to the board. For people that own buildings in Muskegon Heights, Terry Johnson says he needs one of those buildings, and he also.
I'm saying, I would love a building too, and I don't really necessarily have the means myself. But if you have, if we can come together and get a building, let's do it. Let's make it happen. My little motto or what have you has been "Together we rise," because I really just think that is just the only way as a community, as a country, as a world. That's the only way that we are really going to prosper, is just to really come together and just do it.
He said community service and mentorship. Absolutely. Now, another question that we talked about, you have a Priceless Gym out there. You guys have water.
Hmm.
How do you convince people to invest and get some of that water that will help Muskegon Heights people to lower their bill and bring a revenue into Muskegon Heights?
Yeah. Again, it's gonna sound like I'm repeating myself, but networking. I, really, even in my own life, have really undervalued networking. And that's something I can thank my campaign for really getting me out of my comfort zone and really getting me out there, because um, the possibilities are really endless. And I think that networking is a big thing. And again, finding out what is new and cutting edge and what's going to put us above the rest, it was also, going to be of benefit to us, because we do have that unique opportunity where, you know, uh, we have the room to grow. The growth is necessary, so let's make sure that we mold that growth in ways that's just going to be maximize, what we have going on. So
How proud are you? Another question that we asked is actually, this is, we really appreciate the effort that people have put on new projects like Juneteenth and
mhm.
National Camp Out Night and stuff like that, that has happened without a hitch, and that is a positive thing for Muskegon Heights. How important and how do you feel about those things?
I am so proud of Muskegon Heights, especially with the Juneteenth celebration and stuff, because when I first moved to Muskegon Heights, I was familiar with the kind of the festivities that happen around the lakeshore, and the Irish Fest and all these things. And in my personal opinion, the music is okay, the food is okay, but what we have here in Muskegon Heights, we have good music, we have good food, we have good people. So I was really excited just to see that side of our community just really highlighted and put on display. And I would really love to see that just like bigger and bigger and bigger every year, and just pull more people from the surrounding areas, into Muskegon Heights to spend their money, and then they can go home.
Now, as a single mother,
Hmm.
um, how do you feel and what do you feel that you being a single mother brings? What does that bring to the table?
Well, I have been low income my whole life, and now I'm a single mother, so I'm the head of my own household. So I am used to working with very, very little and just making it work, and having to shift things around to where they need to be shifted to in the moment, and prioritizing. So and multitasking. I can do it all with a baby on my hip.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, I think that's definitely. I think single moms are definitely undervalued again a little bit, in that sense that we really do a lot of managing as far as our household and stuff is concerned, and it's essentially just kind of on a bigger scale. So
Right. Now, say you win, what are your priorities? And what would you do day one? What do you want to see done?
day one, I really want to see a grocery store in Muskegon Heights. Again, I mentioned the importance of access to fresh food, and that is really at the top of my list. Whether we pull in, an Aldi or something to that effect, or whether we play off of our community gardens and have an independent, something rather independent, that's up for debate. But a grocery store is not up for debate. We absolutely need one. Another thing that I think is very, very important is ensuring that we have a very efficient and dependable public transit system. And we do have one. But let me tell you, I spent about 10 years in Florida, and Florida, Florida, in many ways, I have a lot of criticisms of Florida, okay? But one thing they have going for them is they have a very strong public transit system. You can hop on the bus in one county, and in 4 hours, you can be in 4 counties over, or what have you. You know what I mean? You can get almost anywhere in the state you need to go. And I think, due to the success of the auto industry, I really think that's probably something that is why Michigan kind of lacks as a whole in that area. And one way I'd really love to see Muskegon Heights thrive in that respect is possibly by revitalizing the railways. Railways are insanely efficient. And they just put a high-speed rail in, between Orlando and Miami.
Right.
My brother recently drained his bank account and went to Japan, and he got back, and all he could talk about was how he could travel anywhere in Japan on bottom dollar with the trains, and we do have rails, and they aren't being used, and in fact, they're being threatened to be tore up, which to me breaks my heart. The city of Muskegon, I have worked on the beach. The city of Muskegon Heights, with the paid parking and whatnot, there's very limited parking on the beach, and it limits the business that can be done on the beach, and it limits the tourism that the beach can experience. I would really love to see a passenger train from Muskegon Heights to the beach. It would act as a tourist destination. People could park and take the rest of the way to the beach. I think it would bring in people who would otherwise bypass Muskegon Heights. It would bring them into the city. I would love to, even if that's successful, take it the other way and go to Grand Rapids so that people from Grand Rapids can access the beach without ever getting on the highway. And it would also ensure that people from Muskegon Heights have job opportunities in Grand Rapids or what have you. And then I would really just love to see Muskegon Heights just be the center of the train movement, if you will. I would, Muskegon Heights is in the center of the county. It's in Muskegon County. Muskegon Heights is in the dead center of the county, and it doesn't make sense to me that it isn't already, just a mecca. So bringing that home is going to be a big thing.
Now, this is a long question, so let me try to work through this.
Sure. Sorry, I know I kind of went off on on a side.
That's okay.
There.
Well, this is from Rhonda Arbor. We hear everyone speaking of what is needed, but no, has addressed the economic burden and the needed change. No one will buy, build, and develop in the current state. Not enough property tax. Rentals have taken over homeowners. Entitlement income is higher than the income of those who are employed, who would purchase homes in the state of the neighborhoods and the services. Business investors looking for a return on their investment. The percentage of the city is at an all-time low. Thank you, Ron. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so I have actually been out there and asking those same questions to the investors, the realtor investors, the business investors that I have come in contact with, like, what's going on, what's the holdup? Why wouldn't you consider, this? And a lot of them say that there is little incentive to build or to invest in Muskegon Heights. If anything, a lot of times Muskegon Heights provides a challenge because there is, I guess, inconsistencies with inspection fees, or, there's a lot of hurdles for them. So I think addressing those hurdles, in fact, I know addressing those hurdles within the city, and maybe, implementing incentives for building. Like, okay, if you build, maybe for the first 2 years, you do get a tax break, but then after that, you're paying, get your feet wet, and then we're going to dunk you,
Mhm.
give them a chance to get a business that it's healthy and thriving. And then, that's what's going to build the community, is ensuring that people have, are able to invest and take that load off of the taxpayers who are already here, because business, there's nothing like some business taxes, let me tell you.
Oh, exactly. And How do we take care of the roads?
Yeah. Well, that's a multifaceted issue too. There has been some funding that has been thrown our way, and some of the community is concerned as to if it was used, to its fullest, potential. And so moving forward, I don't want to look back too much because I just don't think, I think it's only helpful as much as it's helpful. So I think moving forward, it's just going to be, again, getting grant writers, getting somebody in the finance office to ensure that when we get a grant and that that it's going to the right places and that there's some accountability. So yeah, I would loop it back again to, networking, grant writing, and really having somebody in the finance office, who is knowledgeable and trustworthy.
We have 4 minutes, well, 3 minutes here.
Yeah.
A question here is that you talk about that grant writing. Uh, we need somebody with a bullhorn, not only just the speaking and marching, but we need some active people out there that will go out and get those dollars from Muskegon Heights. How do we do it, and who are we going to get to do it?
Well, I'm more than willing. Let me tell you, I'm very passionate about social justice. I've always been very passionate about social justice, and like I said, I was protesting back in the day and realized very quickly that wasn't going to have the lasting effect that we really needed. Right? We really need somebody with the who can really be, writing the letters and showing up to the council meetings and the the county commission meetings and really being that voice. And so I plan on doing it whether y'all vote me in or not, frankly. I've already got some dates on the calendar, for the county meetings, and I'm steady showing up to the council meetings, and I'm out there networking, and that, from on my end, that's not going to change. You're still going to see me around. It would be helpful to have the connections that the council seat offers and things, but you're going to see me around regardless, because I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate. The first time I ever drove down Broadway, I can tell you I literally shed a tear because it's very obvious that something's not right. Something like it's not right. It's just, we got to do something because it's just not right.
Last question from Rhonda says the charter in its current state does not protect the city at all, and we need a council that has a true knowledge of business. Your thoughts?
Well, the school board, and I've been attending the school board meetings because I don't know exactly how the city can help with the school board. But if there's a way, I intend to find out. And being knowledgeable about what's going on in the school board is the first step to that. So I've been keeping an open mind and just really trying to just observe and just see what is actually going on.
I think the person that actually talked about the city of Muskegon Heights charter
Oh,
doesn't protect. But we'll get to that question. We're running out of time. How does a person get in touch with you if they want to write that big check or have questions?
yes. So thank you. My email address is really easy. It's Chelsea McKinley 49444 at gmail.com. My Facebook is Chelsea McKinley for office. So facebook.com/Chelsea McKinley for office. And my telephone number, I usually don't answer phone calls. I'm not going to lie. I usually screen my calls and call you back. But it is 813-403-2282. I always read my text messages.
Chelsea McKinley, we want to thank you for getting on. I know that time just flies really
It
fast.
does. I feel like we could talk for so long.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Good luck and Godspeed on your campaign.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. That's the show for the day. We got a lot more people to interview. And like I said, we try to keep it fair. and make sure that we ask people the same questions so you can make a smart decision. Now, listen, as we say every week, it's Friday. You know, it's the last couple days of mental health month. A lot of people are struggling out there. Go check on them. Go sow a seed in somebody's life. You don't know who you could change. Take care. This is Gregory T. Roberts. We see you next week on Torn in Two. God bless.
With visittanzania4less.com, you can celebrate Christmas in the Serengeti and New Year's Eve in Zanzibar with our holiday special. This 9-day adventure through Tanzania's stunning landscapes covers the Serengeti, Crater Tour, and Zanzibar's beaches. Enjoy an unforgettable New Year's Eve party and explore Dar es Salaam, East Africa's largest city. Worried about your budget? Our preferred travel agency, iButterfly Travel, can help finance your dream trip. Contact them at 844-423-5983. Start 2024 on a high note with a unique Tanzanian experience. Call iButterfly Travel today at 844-423-5983 or email visittanzania4less@gmail.com. Reserve your dream vacation with a 30% deposit. Spend Christmas in the Serengeti and New Year's Eve in Zanzibar. If not now, then when?